Yo ho ho, crypto pirates! How you going out there, YouTube land? We're back for another episode of the Hex Late Show. Got my Anchorman Day 43. How you going, Day 43? And we got Bluey here. And we're going to be talking about the number one crypto in the world, the beautiful Hex coin. If you haven't heard about it, then I don't know where you've been living under a rock or doing something stupid, because it's literally it's like the number one crypto.
Silly
buggers. We love a bit of silly buggers.
Guys, just before we start,
I
just want to say something. I've been spending a bit of time in the Hex Italia chat. Now, in Hex Italia, they only chat in Italian, so only go there and chat if you're going to chat in Italian. But I just want to say a few words to them. Buongiorno, I miei fratelli italiani. Speriamo che possiamo iniziare un nuovo stream italiano il più presto possibile.
Is that right? Good on you, mate. What's the general IQ of that particular chat, mate?
Look, the Italians are great, man. They're really enthusiastic about Hex. They love it, and I really enjoy being in there. And it's going to be a good chat room. Look, they've got 100 members.
Nice.
They've got 100 members, and they're very, very interested in learning, and that's what I love about that chat. They're interested in learning, and so they're pretty smart in there. They just the chat's only been there for 3 months, and they're just they're absorbing the knowledge.
One of your blokes here now. Is that by the sounds of it? Is he one of your
Marco Puglisi.
So is there any Italian streamers that people can go and watch, or you're going to do an Italian stream?
Over here. Mario Brothers.
If the Italian crew want to do a stream, I'm happy to jump on and say good day and have a chat with them. In as much as I'm not extremely fluent, so I can only but I'll jump in and help.
Well, that's really good. I'd love to be able to speak another language, and I'd love to be able to tour the world and speak different languages. And people that have that skill are very, very, very blessed. There's a lot of Hexicans that are bilingual, and but the hex code is universal. Would you say? What's been going on, boys?
Hex code is in all languages.
That's it.
It speaks to all cultures.
And you can actually program the front end to I think there's like about 12 or 13 different languages. So it's not it does not discriminate against anyone. Everyone has the equal opportunity, and that's what I love about the whole thing with Hex. It's really is an opportunity for everyone. It's almost like a meritocracy in a sense that everyone gets to play the game how they see fit for themselves and do what's right for them. And it incentivizes that good behavior. It's really, really, really interesting stuff. So, yeah.
Definitely a global community, and it's been great. You learn a lot along the way, speaking to all the people from different countries, and it's good to get their points of view about things that are going on in the world as well. So I've learned a lot.
So good.
Apart from the crypto stuff, it's been really, really good to get an insight into other people's cultures and what's going on in their part of the world.
Fantastic stories. There's some fantastic stories.
So if anyone's watching us for like the first time and they want to know who we are, right? We're a bunch of Australian guys who absolutely love Hex, and we love Pulse. We're going to be talking about Pulse. We're going to be talking about Hex. I'll just give you a bit of a rundown of who we got here. Below me, we've got Jexa J, and who he's a creator of hexsafe.win. Which is an excellent resource for just general security related to Hex, how to look after your seed phrase and hardware wallets and how to use them and things like this. You've also got like metal. Can you tell us a little about this, about that?
So for the time being, the way we've got to do everything in crypto is have our seed phrases or our seed words. And most people, if they're doing the right thing, write them down on a piece of paper, which is a good start. but pieces of paper can get destroyed. So I've got the seed vault, which is just a stainless steel plate that you can stamp your seed words into. You don't need letter stamps or anything. It's all set up so you just pin punch all your seed words in there, and you can lock that away somewhere safe and forget about it, and know that it's going to be there when you come back in 20 years. And we'll have 15-year stakes in Hex, so it's important to really look after your seed words.
And then we've got over here, down the bottom here, we've got Blue Bum. Blue Bum has been having some excellent interviews with people. I can't wait for you to get back on track with that, Blue Bum. You've been taking a little bit of a break with that, but I feel that you're about to come back on board with some interviews, because you've done some excellent ones with who you've did Dipcatcher, Jenkins. You did one with Martin North. Like, you've done all these fantastic interviews. I can't wait for you to get back into it, mate.
Yep.
The last couple of days I've been spending a lot of time on hexgraphs.com and all of their graphs, and there are some awesome graphs there, man, and that is such a good site.
Hex
graphs.
I'm trying to remember his name. I'm trying to remember the guy's name. He's
Alexa 10 or something.
Alexa 10, Alexa 10, yeah.
And you know what I
Brilliant
saw?
guy.
I just saw them. I don't know if it's a he or a she. I saw them in the Hex Australia chat.
It's a he.
And
it's
it's a he, yeah. And
I think he's either from he's European or Belgium or somewhere like that. I don't want to get it wrong, but right. he's been on a couple of streams when he first launched that, and a lot of those they were getting a fair bit of attention when he first started, and they were really good. And he's like just letting everyone use it for their thumbnails and things like that when the streaming sort of became a thing, and we're all sort of trying to push information out about the greatest crypto of all time, Hex, of course. And we're using his stuff, and he loves working on the graphs, and he's got good technical ability to do that stuff. We got a lot of really good technical people within Hex.
Oh, they're amazing graphs, and they tell you a lot about the Hex ecosystem. And we're getting to the point now, because we've had over 1.5 years, where you can see the data and you can see the trends and stuff like that. Mm. And all to do with shares is very, very, very interesting in particular. And I asked him to come on. I'd love to get him to come on and maybe just talk about some of his favorite ones. And
for sure.
Maybe today we could talk about this whole share deflation kind of narrative that seems to be going around people. Because I've been thinking about it, and I don't know. I think there's going to be a strong share in pressure as more and more people come into it as well. I don't know at what point.
There's a theoretical maximum, though. Yeah,
there will be a point.
I'm sure there is.
There's going to be.
Okay, but hang on.
The thing is, there's going to be a point when deflation of shares happens. It's just a matter of when that peak shares.
Yeah, I know, but now you're talking about the maximums of the system, right? So at the moment, only 10% staked. If that moves up to 15 or 20% of Hex,
how much is circulating? Let's work this out mathematically.
That's a hell of a lot. That's a hell of a lot more shares.
Yeah,
and I think that there is also going to be a big share inflation pressure as more and more people work out the system. And so this narrative that eventually they'll be deflationary, that only happens when it kind of gets maxed out. And because the OA holds so much, that's going to have a real kind of effect on it as well. And if in 10 years, do you think the OA will slowly start releasing some of their more into the market or something like that? I don't know.
As a percentage of the overall supply, it's going to take a long time. But as a percentage of the overall supply, the OA's portion is going to
diminish.
It's diminishing, yeah, but that's a big portion. And so your theoretical maximum is everyone's staking for the maximum length of time at any one point, which is
at that point deflationary. But that's a very long way away, and we're going to have years and years of potential share inflation.
I actually
It
don't think it's that
depends.
far away, mate. I actually don't think it's that far away.
It depends. They're unknowables here. We don't know what people are going to do. We don't.
I think
know
it's
if,
around just before the average. I think it's probably between 4 and 5 years. But I know this is just how long's a piece of string
Nah,
here.
but I
think the deflation
that's just
in
a
HEX
number
is going
pulled
to
out
kick
of
in a
someone's
lot
ass.
sooner than what you're
That's-
saying.
Deflation? I don't think so, mate.
Yeah,
Think about it,
I
right?
wouldn't be holding
I
your
do
breath
think
waiting
so.
for it.
I do think so because shares are deflationary.
No, they're
Hey,
not
Sammy.
though.
Hey, Sammy.
Not necessarily.
Hello.
Sammy,
How you
hey,
going?
Hey, Sammy.
how you going?
Princess.
Good.
HEX inflates, shares deflate. Louis.
No, look, the cost
Go
of them
and
goes
have a
up.
look at
And
the
so,
layman's guide and go and have a look at the staking deep dive.
I mean, I have.
Well, hang on. I want to
Like-
hear the. I need to hear
I
Blue Bum's
didn't mean to
thesis.
noob you up, but
Hang on.
come on, mate.
Let's
Fair
hear Blue Bum's thesis here, okay? Because I think this is
Okay.
this is a discussion we need to have without everyone jumping in. Let's just hear
Okay,
Blue Bum talk about it, and then we can have counter arguments.
okay, let's look at it. Let's bring up hex graphs. I think it would. There's a share my. I'll find it and I'll share my screen. Hang on, because I was looking at it and I was like, the thing is, at the moment there's about 10 million shares or something like that, and it's kind of you saw it go up right at the start, and then it kind of went, sideways a bit, and then when we had the what's it call it? Hang on, I'm gonna look at I'm gonna look at this graph. I'm gonna get hex graphs up here because this is awesome. Hang on.
When we
There's an
had
awesome
big
graph
payday,
here.
the T shares
Yeah,
spiked
it went
up really high.
Exactly, right. So here we go. But like, I'm not prepared for this. But like, so like they were about 50 million on big payday. Like, and you can go look at go.hex.com. You can see all of the like how many shares there were. So on big payday there was like 50 million, right? So we still could grow. Like we're only 10 million at the moment. So shares shares depend on the behavior of people who hold hex.
So the war for longer stakes. The war for longer stakes, basically. The leverage.
Well, my thesis against deflation. My thesis against deflationary shares is maybe it happens way in some sort of theoretical possible world in the future, but at the moment,
how far? But like, let's be specific.
Well, I don't know.
There's a couple of theories. There's a couple of theories.
It's going to take time.
Unwrecked. Just let's try and address this. Blue Bum. How long into the future do you think it's going to be?
It depends. The thing is, right? It depends on people's behavior. It depends on how many shares people print. How much hex people lock up, and how far into the future they lock it up, right? So on big payday, there was 50 million shares in the system, and that was pretty much nearly all of the hex staked, right? So, like, we're only 10 million now. Like, we could 4x or 5x before we would not
get those shares.
Like, that's inflation. Like, there's so much room.
We can work it out. How many billion?
Chart of future supply.
Well, how many billions of hex are liquid right now?
It's like 600 billion or something. 583. 583. Yeah, something like that.
Okay, 583 billion.
Hang on, I'm gonna go to go.hex.com and get the exact figure.
So that's 500. Okay, all right. So what that means? One thing I know, the max T shares you can get on 1 million hex for a 3641 day stake, which is the maximum amount of T shares you can get, is 163. That's for 1 million hex, right?
So, 1 day. Oh no, for the maximum.
For the maximum, right? That's 163 T shares.
Right.
We currently have 583,000 1 million possibilities of that. So if I take 583,000 and multiply by 163, we have, if everything was staked, it would, at this point right now,
At the maximum, yeah.
at the maximum, whatever is there right now, we'd need to we'd have to add 95 million T shares.
Okay, so 95 million. That's the limit, right? And at the moment we're only 10.
95 million plus what we've currently got.
Okay, so 100 million. So at the moment we're only 10 million. We've got
105, yeah. 105.
So there could be share inflation.
I believe there's going to be share inflation in the short term.
Up to 10 years.
But what's short term? Like, how long does it take before there's like every single hex is max staked? That's like a theoretical impossibility.
It's not because there will be a point. There will be a point in the future. See, the assumption that you're making. Correct. Yeah, you're making the assumption that things are going to get staked. That the OA is going to stake.
No. This is my assumption. My assumption is that as people at the moment, only 10% of hex is staked. As people find it and start buying it up, they start working out the system. They start staking. So we're seeing the average length of stake move up. It's been moving up ever since we've been in it, right? Now it's at 5.86 or something like that years.
Yeah,
I think it's going to keep going out, and as it keeps going out, there's more and more shares, and there's more and more shares.
But the share price goes up, so the longer you wait,
it's more expensive to do. But that doesn't mean that more people aren't coming on and buying and making more shares.
No, but what it means is that the number of shares increases at a slower rate as the share price goes up. There's a good comment there by iBaseline. Could you bring out? They're going to go up, but at some point.
So this deflationary narrative. My point is, this deflationary narrative is like a theoretical, like very, 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 very far into the future.
Like 5 to 10 years into the future.
No. Like way further than that.
I disagree.
Because you've got to get. Because you've got to. No, but you think about it. It's got to be like all of the people. It's all of the people, like all staking for the max length. That's going to take. Is that even like possible? Like in reality.
The OA has like 85% of the supply, so only like 1 to 5% more can be staked, right?
Well, but even that, I would dispute even that figure, that 85%. I know we had Gunter on, and I know everyone says that there are a whole lot of wallets that act OA-like, but they are not directly connected to the OA. We can't be sure who controls those addresses.
But you're making an assumption that they're going to stake.
That's what I'm there. Well, no, I'm not taking an assumption. What I'm saying is that, like,
because if they just do what they're doing now, then they will continue not to be staked, and then that means that share deflation is going to happen sooner than what you're saying. Like, so I actually believe between 5 and 10 years,
on human behavior,
we're going to start. Yeah.
Well, I believe depends on OA behavior, really.
Yeah,
at both.
I think between 5 and 10 years
and OA behavior. 5 and 10 years? Nah, you're dreaming.
Between 5 and 10.
You're dreaming. No, we're only going to start getting
5 and 10 years.
We're only going to get started in 5 or 10 years.
Mr. Tangent, how you going, buddy? How are you, man?
Hey, everyone. Sorry I was late.
What's going on? No, don't apologise.
Yeah. What's going on?
Which coin is the discussion about? Is it Pulse, ETH, or Hex?
Hex. We're talking about shares.
We're talking about T-shares.
Oh, T-shares.
Don't bring something else into the mix.
Yeah, I've got my...
Well, that's going to be really interesting.
Oh, yes.
Hey, Daniel.
Look at that. That just looks like a big set of lips, doesn't it?
That's unwrecked. Yours is looks like it's more vinyl-like. Is that the proper vinyl Richard Hart? You know how he said when you print it on vinyl, it pops better than when you've got these regular prints?
I know it's fair use. It's made in Australia, so it's in my mate in Ipswich printed
definitely
this for
fair
me.
use.
So You know.
Hey, Tangent. Hey, Tangent.
Yeah.
You have been stepping up with your streams, mate. Your streams
Thanks.
are getting better.
Oh, that's awesome to hear.
They are. It is like the one. There's one you did all the visuals and everything, and what you're talking about and your flow and everything like that, man. It's just like you're taking it to the next level, man. Seriously.
Oh, that's awesome. Thank you.
Yeah. What was he saying? I was watching you last night. You were saying something about what are you calling one? You're calling something out, or you what do you call that thing? You're stepping off, or you're stepping out, or doing something like. It's just great stuff, and you're getting like a real bit of a cult following. You know, I like it. It's real underground, sort of, book it out stuff.
I'm definitely getting
exactly
starting to get people asking me, "Hey, when are you streaming?"
Oh, I know. I spewed. I missed it live. I was like, I saw your tweet, and I was like, oh, he's going to be on tonight, and I was like, looking for it, and then by the time I found it, you were gone. So I had to watch it.
And it's nice that it's random. It's really nice that it's random because it is really underground, and you just got to be on at the right time to catch you.
Yeah.
So it feels kind of special.
I'm always half surprised when any of you guys pop in there. I'm like, oh, awesome.
I love your streams, Tangent. I always try and catch.
So
Thanks,
you've literally just finished a stream now and then jumped straight on here. Is that?
No. I did a really quick stream just to tell everyone that I would be on this. So it was just a 8-minute stream, just looking at price and saying that I would be on this channel.
Guys,
Miss Sammy.
Subscribe to Hex Tangent. I've just put his link to his channel in the chat.
Oh, cheers, guys.
Just go subscribe, man. Awesome.
Hey, by the way, we are broadcasting on the Discourse Syndicate Network, guys. So we got to keep a straight wing keel on that sort of thing because they've got a bit of an agenda that they're pushing. But Sammy, just quickly, mate, tell us about the Ladies Discourse Syndicate on Friday. You've got something coming up, I believe.
Yeah. So Friday was our Saturday Sydney time, 10 a.m. But Friday night. PST California time 5 p.m. We've got Crypto Coffee. We've got Wales Only. We've got a new lovely Hexican lady called Cindy Hex. And then we've got a couple of others. We've got Blaze Makes Music. We've got Hex to the Yes. We've got a few other chicks and Jack Hexican popping in. So it should be a lot of fun.
Good stuff. Yeah, no, that's good. So make sure you tune in to that Discourse Syndicate, and then that'll be before the Friday night hangout or the after?
Just before the boys. Yeah, we're a couple of hours before the boys.
Snapper wants me to tell you all about my Land Rovers. I've been working on the electricals on the old Series 3 out there. No, but anyway, all right. So let's just go. Sorry to just sort of like segue back to what we're talking about, stakes and shares, because Bluey, your thesis is that there's enormous inflationary growth potential still in the share system because of the fact that there's that much liquid hex that can be converted into T shares, and in fact we've already seen a massive over the big payday. We saw the T shares expand from say around about 11 million T shares to say 50 million T shares, where virtually the supply went from being 10% stake to like 97% stake. Was that about? That's rough maths about what it was.
Yeah.
But there's a point in the future where that becomes impossible, and we've had this theoretical discussion before, and it's because the longer pays better, because you're getting leverage on your T shares. You can, when you any stakes that end between now and the first 10 years, if you stake them longer, you can even just with your principal perhaps. If you go out further, you can potentially get the same number or more T shares. But after a point in time, say around about 2030, then it's impossible.
Yeah.
Then so it's like the game theory actually runs for about 25 years initially.
You've also got to take into account we're basing a lot of our information on current supply, and that is going to change substantially as we get further down the track. Stakes will end, and that will mean new supply, which therefore means you've got more supply that can be locked up for longer.
But they won't get more T shares.
You are more, we're talking about So we're talking about more T shares can become available. So I guess if a T share costs more in terms of hex, I guess that would limit, that would dampen.
You would
that
have to
factor.
extend out longer. So what happens is you're
true.
going to get
I see what
your
you're saying. Yeah.
you're going to get your stake out, and you're going to have your principal and your interest,
Hmm.
but you're going to have to stake out longer if you want to
yeah.
get more T shares. Otherwise, you're just going to get the same T shares if you restate.
That's
you know.
true. Yep.
So I guess the thing that I think is, like, unless we have something else happen than what we're seeing in the system, there's going to be a point in the, like, I believe between year 5 and year 10, I think there's going to be a point of peak T shares. And of course, there is the potential there could be more T shares. As long as the OA exists and there is that supply, there is the potential. But if the OA just does what it does, which is nothing, then there's no
benevolent.
Then
I
there's
think
no
you're on the money, day 43.
No,
I
but-
agree with you there. I actually think
I'd
it
disagree
might
with
actually
that.
come sooner than that, but I think you're on the money. Yep.
No, I disagree with that. Like, let's say those 50% of the OA is just all locked up, and we're only dealing with the other 50%. You still got like heaps of room for people to get T shares, and so whether there's more T shares in the system in the future is purely dependent on the behavior of hexagons, of people who hold hex, and how much how much of that they stake. So that's
So
what's
if-
going to be the inflationary drive. My guess is that as people work out the system, and as more and more people come on buying more hex, and that they'll have all of this, they'll start chucking it out more, and that's what we've seen. We've seen the average weighted length go out and out and out, and it's only at 5.86, but that could easily go out to 10, 12. You know what I mean? Like, as more people work it out, and at that
as
stage,
you get
there'll
more
be
confidence in the
tons of
system.
shares.
And then we haven't even talked about, so at the moment, people build ladders. And the reason they build ladders is they don't want to have everything chucked out 15 years into the future. Now, I'm going to open a can of worms here, but we start seeing these encapsulated stakes come through, and that gives people more confidence where they can throw these things out further, lock them up, and still have the ability to do something with those stakes. So they no longer necessarily need to have such a diverse ladder. They might be able to achieve a similar thing using the encapsulated stakes. So that will definitely push the amount of
If we see
I don't like
everyone
that idea.
just coming in, if we see everyone coming in and getting, or loads of people coming in getting those 5 stakes encapsulated, that's going to definitely ramp up how many T shares there are. We would see massive inflation of T shares potentially, and then at that point of 15 years, as they start coming out, then T shares become deflationary.
It's a long way to go.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well,
we're going to find out.
I would either go to the layman's guide and the staking deep dive, or the horse's mouth, Richard Hart, where he goes, the hex inflates, the T shares deflate, and as it turns out, the T shares are actually more valuable than the coins in some respects. The coins are valuable too, but look, this war for longer stakes and this whole thing around the game theory that is the Lindy effect, the fact that people are expecting they're going to be able to mint their rewards at the end of their stake. That expectation, that actually adds value to the whole network. So I kind of think where day 43 mentioned that probably somewhere between year 5 and 10 is probably close. I think it's around about the average staking length where there's a tipping point where there actually becomes the deflation in hex actually kicks in. Now I know for a fact it probably some of Wales Only's charts, or some of the conversations that the Access Alive and Wales Only have been having would allude to similar sort of hypothesis around this, because they know the mathematics a little bit more intrinsically than we do. We're a bit more sort of like, just rough it in, she'll be right, mate. But look, if you look at that stuff, that you hear Wales Only talking about deflation in the T shares. So I mean, he has not been wrong as far as I can see very often. He's pretty, and Richard Hart's never very often, never been wrong much either.
No.
You know, we all make mistakes, but those guys seem to be, you know, on another level of competency around understanding hex. Would you agree?
Okay. Oh, yeah, from a mathematical point of view, definitely. Sorry, you go, Sammy.
Especially Richard Hart's random line, like, you know, if that's going to exist the way he said it is, which is, you know, he's usually always right. That's pretty damn exciting, isn't it?
Hey, Tangent, we got a chart here. We want to look at this. We want to have a look at the chart. This is what are we looking at here? Who's this?
Can I say one more
Sorry,
thing, though?
I was actually just cleaning that one up. This is the one that I
Sorry.
cleaned.
Sorry,
Here's one I prepared earlier. So
Can I say one
that's
more?
cool. This one can go.
Just
This
let
one can go.
Bluey bookend this little conversation for us.
Oh yeah, go
Thanks,
for it.
mate.
Yeah. The one other thing I'll say is that as more and more T-shares come onto the market, that means that more and more hex is getting locked up in the future. So it's driving the price up. So it's making T-shares way more expensive, right? So maybe that could be a deflationary pressure in the opposite direction, because if they're becoming so much more expensive, but that will also cause people to lock them further out into the future. So there's a lot of variables, and I just wanted to question a little bit that kind of how soon that deflation, those deflationary T-shares will hit.
Can I just make one point there,
Blue Bum?
Good. If you've got any stakes that that 10 years or above, right? Any of those stakes, when you get them, you know, when that stake comes good and you unstake it and you get your principal and your interest, you never, when you restake, the best you can do is get the same T-shares back. You're never going to get more T-shares for that stake.
Unless you put in more dry powder, unless you bring in new. But then you have to go buy it on the market, and you're buying someone else's end staked hex that they're, you know, thrown on the market. You know what I mean? It's not
that's you're referring specifically to a 5-5-5-5-1.
I'm referring specifically to a 3641 to 5555.
Yeah.
Because anything in that range, you can't improve your T-share rate.
Yep. Very
good.
good.
That's the best you can get.
That just take longer, basically, to get more.
All right.
No, you can't. You
That's what
can't.
you're saying. You can't.
You can't.
Oh, the 15 you can't.
No, the 10 you can't. At the 10 you can't.
5. Yeah, but in between a 5 and in between up to 10. Yeah.
Up to 10 you get you can get more T-shares, but from 10 onwards, even if you restake it, you have to restake the full amount, the principal and the interest, just to get back the T-shares that you had originally. So
let's talk about the only thing that really matters, and that's number go up in crypto. It's the only thing.
The best NGU technology in the game is the hex chart. So I've cleaned this chart up, and so now these bright green lines that are thicker support levels based on weekly candles, and then the thinner, darker green candles are based on the daily. Right. Oh, and I've got these two moon parabolas. I've got my long-term moon parabola, which is still intact. You guys can see that. And we've got this shorter time frame moon parabola in here. I think both of them are calling for 33 cents. Are we still on 33 cents, Jexa?
I done a stairway to heaven on Twitter today, and it lined up perfectly with. No, 33 cents was bang on. So I don't know, fib extension from. So if you think where we are now is our pullback, that's our base we're going to go from now. If you do a fib extension based on where we sit now, that takes us pretty much spot on to 33 cents.
All right, let's do that. So basically, on a recent stream, I said that I think 10 cents is likely to be the lowest that we're going to go in the short term. So that's that red arrow there. I'll try and zoom in a little bit. So this red arrow here is down to 10 cents, and that's a weekly. That's a high time frame, and then this fib extension that you just mentioned, so the highest level of that is pretty much exactly at 33 cents.
So I done my 1.618 was at 33. I'll just give us a sec. I'll drag it up. Where are we?
I want to remind everyone that these parabolas are moon boy parabolas. They're not legitimate TA, but I like to keep them on there just to see if we've fallen out too far out of the parabola to be able to redraw it. And so yeah, at the moment, I mean, I think the price is looking good. It's been going up today, 12.5 cents. We are in a downtrend through here, but we'll see if we can, perhaps at the end of the sacrifice phase might be when that gets reversed. I regret not sacrificing more aggressively at the start, obviously, but hindsight's 2020. How do you guys feel about that?
I think everyone got caught out, mate. Everyone, we had a massive run up, and I think everyone just thought, like most people do, they think that's never going to end, and everyone just wants to take it as far as they can, and I think pretty much, I'd say safe to say most people got caught short and didn't quite get all they wanted in the first few days.
Yeah, that's good. That's good to hear. That gives me less FOMO.
I think day one was probably the best, though, looking at it. But you would have had to have a good solid half an hour window when it wicked up to get in at a good price. And I don't think a lot of people did it, but a lot of people did well. A lot of the smart hexagons got in on day one and did really well. But it didn't matter if you did 2, 3, 4. I think.
Can you recall if anyone told us to go in hard and early? We were warned. We were warned.
Did someone?
Oh, only Richard several times.
Did he?
He said early the better. Earlier the better.
I just assumed when he said earlier is better, at the curve, at the decreased rate, that's the only thing that you can be sure about is that rate curve.
That's true, yeah.
And beyond that, then it's unknowns. So from that respect of that only known, then earlier is better. But yeah, I think I underestimated how quickly 2 weeks goes by.
Yeah,
so
definitely.
That seemed to me like there was plenty of time to get another big run up, and 2 weeks in. You think that 2 weeks in crypto is an eternity, but it actually can go past quite quickly. And now we're three and a bit days. And did you guys hear how the last 3 days are not going to count towards your position?
Mm-hmm.
So it's pretty much like so this 6 days, 16 hours is actually really 3 days and 16 hours. If you want the sacrifices to count for bumping people.
I think we had this chat the other night in our group saying, would it make sense for someone to come in now and try and top the leaderboard? And unless you already had a big position in there and you were trying to protect it, it would be, I can't see why someone would come in this late.
Do you mean, but what about if they pumped it first, if they had the economic energy to pump the price?
And this is the
waiting
conversation.
for everyone to run out of powder.
Yeah.
And then right towards the end, but so basically 3 and a bit days before the end, just absolutely mash the price to the moon.
Yeah, so I don't think you would do that on purpose, though. I think if you're a late arrival, maybe, but I don't think you would make that part of your game plan because it's way too risky for other big whales to sell into. If someone's got a big bag, they want to suppress it.
Yeah.
You'll push the price against yourself, and then everyone will just sell in against you. So
yeah.
Unless, of course, you miss the first 5 days, and you're some ETH whale who's just seen it now, and they're trying to assess when is my best entry point. How can I game the system in my favor? And they're just looking at that day, like 3 days, day 16, and they're looking at it, and they're like, okay, well, when day 16 ticks over to day 17, it's going to drop from if I was to get in first place, it's going to drop from a 2.5 volume bonus down to a 1.75 volume bonus. If I can somehow pump the price in that last,
so would they? Is this what they do? Is this what they do? They basically get a ton of anything else besides Hex, like let's say ETH, and they at 15 minutes to go before the
no, it'd have to be before
3 days. No, because the average price have to be a half an hour.
You want it to be at least a half an hour, so you get that time weighted average, right?
So you're just hoping that it stays up over that 13 minutes, and you just keep pumping it, and then all the hex that all the hex that you're buying, you're immediately just sacrificing.
You want to do it before, though. You don't want to leave it till that last. You want to do it maybe an hour before, yeah. You want to do it an hour before, like so you can pump the price up, and then you got to sacrifice. That's the thing. You got to sacrifice, right?
Yeah. But that's what it is. It's like buy, send, just like a half hour.
It is like the riskiest move you could do, I reckon.
So every minute,
but compared to, but Jaxa, compared to what? When you say it's the riskiest move, compared to what other option does this person have if they're like some massive whale who wants to get in?
So first of all, if they want to push the price that high, they're going to have to put a lot of economic energy in there because they're moving, the slippage is moving against them. So they're already working against themselves just by virtue of trying to push the price up. Then you've got a whole bunch of people that would be sitting there. If there's whales that want to protect their position, that would be looking to sell down into you. So then you've got even more pressure. You've got to put in twice the economic energy as the guys that came in on day one to get an equivalent position. It just seems like it would be a crazy risky play to do it.
Well, the question is, what other option do they have?
It's a baller option. It'd be a baller move. Like that would be baller.
It would be. It would be. Like, it would be insane to watch, but I just can't. Yeah.
One advantage that you get is that you know exactly what everyone else, like you know all the positions to beat. Like you've got all knowns basically because you can see what everyone else. If you're doing this right at the end, you're like, all right, this is what everyone else has done. Keeping in mind, remember also, you know how you said that like lots of the whales have got massive bags of hex that they could dump onto you.
Mm-hmm.
Some of those whales will have actually sacrificed a lot of their hex. So you could maybe even monitor the whales and see if they have basically exhausted their bags in an attempt to get like up the ladder. They might not actually have as much liquid hex as you'd think.
For five to
trying to dump on.
All right.
How big a player?
So let's say you come in and you do your baller move and you push the price through the roof, and then you've got another whale sitting there that's got a massive bag of hex and just goes, okay, I'm going to take advantage of that and shifts it sideways into the sack as well.
And they have to be sitting with their finger on the button. There's no ego
involved in any of this, is there? By the way,
they have to be sitting.
Whales, there's no ego because Richard Hart doesn't have an ego, does he?
They'd have to be there for that exact 30-minute window. They'd have to be awake and sitting by the computer for when you do it. Like you're the only one who knows when you're going to do it.
They have to have their finger ready to execute, like for the whole, 6 hours before the end of that day,
and be willing to sacrifice in a lot more than what they were originally planning. So you know.
Yeah, but can I add, guys? You know what? I reckon the top wallets, a lot of them are pooled. There's a lot of them that instigated pools that I've been hearing across Twitter and other platforms.
Yeah, I'm not sure about the bigger addresses though. I mean, we've seen
a C5 address is not a pool.
C5 just comes straight in.
I'm not saying all of them, but
and
there are a few.
And there's two addresses
in there
Foundation.
For sure.
In the top 10, there's two addresses, which is just Sens Foundation, where someone's just donated 6 million and something else.
And let's just highlight that good news story. Can we just highlight that as a good news story, please? Can we just say that 26 million US dollars has been donated to the Sens Foundation, which is longevity research, which is potentially saving lives and extending our lives. And it's some really interesting. I think it's a very, very noble thing that Richard Hart's doing, and I think he should get some recognition and reward, like at least some praise from the Hexicans about that, because he's thought it through. Like he's gone through and said, well, what if we cure cancer? Well, then heart disease gets you. What if we cure heart disease? Then something else, the next one gets you. So it's all about prevention. It's all about some of the. It comes back to this whole. I think there's a whole series or chain of events around the way that the mathematics and the code of hex transcends that space into human behaviours, because we're all now incentivized to say good things about hex. We're all incentivized to try and get to the end of our longer stakes because, like, you know, we could all be hit by. You could walk down the street tomorrow and get hit by a bus. We don't know. You don't know what the future might hold. But like, we're trying to live better lives so that we can see those rewards and mint our rewards at the end of our juicy stakes. I got some pearlers. I got to say, full disclosure.
Hey, you know,
I don't want to die. I don't want to die before they end. You know what I mean?
You're going to stop doing the shit you're doing then, Unrex.
I nearly give myself a bloody heart attack. Some bloody thieving bastard stole my computer out of the back of my truck. I was fucking livid. Well, I'll get them.
If there is a hex whale sitting there, right, with like a ton of ETH, right, and he doesn't want to have all of that ETH at the fork, right? He wants to move it into Pulse. The way to do that would be to pump up Hex and SAC
to 27 cents to get the equivalent of what day 1 to 5 was.
Is that right? So pump Hex and then sacrifice.
Sorry, were you talking about the OA then, were you?
Damn.
Is that what you said?
Not necessarily.
No.
Okay, no, I don't think the OAs. I'm not so. There's a Genesis address. I don't think the other
I agree.
I think he's keeping that separate.
Okay.
Yeah.
Back to the only thing that matters, number go up.
Yeah, there were a couple of things I just wanted to also say about this chart that I didn't say before is this huge wick to the downside looks like a capitulation wick. You know, with the Uniswap, the way that Uniswap works, it's not quite as, I wouldn't necessarily call it a capitulation wick. It's more likely it was just a single person with a huge order and they didn't realize that they were just going to spike the price down. It looks like this was a massive dump that just got bought straight back up, straight back up to this fib level, and then eventually got supported on this high time frame or daily time frame level support, which has supported the price again now. And the only other thing, so Parabola's intact, and it looks like we've broken this blue dashed downtrend line that I've got here. It looks like right now the price is pumping as we're streaming. We've certainly broken this, which means I think it looks good for moving up. But there's probably more resistances above us than there is below at the moment.
That I think that was two big sells that caused that wick. I think there was a 1.3 million sell, if I believe correctly, and then when it hit 10 cents, then I think it was about 2 point something mil sold as well.
Anyone who had sort of limit orders, pseudo limit orders by using liquidity asymmetry would have been super stoked to have their orders filled. In fact, the problem with that is if this moved really fast, because remember how Richard was explaining, and he's right, that when you use liquidity provision as a way of setting a limit order, you have to remove the liquidity after it's filled. Otherwise, you get unfilled as the price goes back the other way. So I think if people did use that tactic to set limit orders down in these sorts of levels, if the price moved back up quite quickly, they would have actually lost their purchases. Does that make sense?
Yep, I didn't know that.
Which part?
Yeah, I want to ask you. I want to ask you about
that.
Can I ask you? Can you explain that a bit more about those liquidity pools and those buy sell wars? Because I was watching Wales Only access a live stream the other day, and shout out to Wales. I see he's in the chat there. Hey mate, and they're explaining those liquidity pools. There it is, that stuff there, and you can see where the limit orders are, the limit sells are, and you can sort of calculate. I don't know, Jexa, you talk about this as well. Like there's X amount of dollars in terms of sell pressure or buy pressures. I think it was like a $3.5 million sell wall that needed to be broken through, and then it's off to the track or whatever. I don't know. Can you perhaps give some fundamental technical around this stuff so we can, for the guys like me to understand, please?
Yep. With the introduction of Uniswap v3, so the version 3 Uniswap, it allowed liquidity providers to choose the range that they're providing liquidity in. And so what that means is, so whereas this used to be, this graph would have, with V2 and V1, this graph would have looked flat because anyone who provides liquidity, you have to provide it it just automatically provides it evenly across all prices from 0 to infinity. But V3 allows you to focus your liquidity for better efficiency in terms of the fees that you're going to make as trades are executed. And Richard Hart worked out that you can use that as a way to sort of hack a way to create a limit order by basically putting your liquidity in a very narrow band at a specific level, and then as the price moves through that band, you will either sell or buy, depending on whether you've placed it above or below, respectively.
Yeah, right.
So you can see, down here, this big, massive block of bars, that's basically a buy wall that is at 5.5 cents and below, and it's epic. It basically means if someone wanted to try and it would take an absolutely massive amount of hex. But remember that these things can be removed as well. Just like orders within a club book, these things can be pulled just from pulling your liquidity.
And they do move around quite a bit, don't they? There's a bit of funny stuff going on in there, and that's where I think that's where you were going before.
For the last few days to couple of weeks, but there was quite a lot of movement prior to that, sort of leading up into the sacrifice phase.
And you can provide one-sided liquidity now. You can, whereas before you had to provide equal amounts of liquidity on both sides of the order book. Now you have to. Now you can do one-sided liquidity, which is that's quite interesting, isn't it? That scenario there with the 5.5 cent buy wall, that would suggest that would be a bearish scenario, perhaps in the future.
That's forming
it's like a
floor
bid
for you.
support.
Yeah, it's putting a
Bid
floor
support.
there for you.
Yeah.
So it means if someone,
it's also wasted capital if it just sits there, because the
Not
other way
if you're buying.
So it depends on the intention of the person providing the liquidity. So, for example, if this happened to be a large whale who really cares about the price of hex, hint, then they don't really care about making fees, showing that no matter how much hex someone dumps, the price is not going below that level.
It's going to be resilient. Yeah.
So
how does it work?
I mean, there's no extreme looking walls here, although because this is a relative scale in terms of the y-axis, the height of the bars. These buy walls down here at 5.5 cents and below have really dwarfed these bars. So these don't look as significant, but you would say that effectively that according to this liquidity chart, there would be a resistance at around 14, or a more significant resistance at around 14.8 cents, and maybe some less significant at 13.9. So, but if we were to get through that, then after that, like someone was unwrecked, you were quoting Jexa as saying that basically when you get through these levels, then it becomes just incredibly easy to just pump the price to whatever you want to pump it to, really.
Yeah, but that liquidity will move with the price, so it'll center around current price.
People
but someone, and that's why you see a wick up to 20 cents is because it goes past that that bulk of the liquidity and can move very quick. Same way you'll see a dip down to 7 cents. It moves out of the general mass of the liquidity pool and goes into a really thin area.
Yep.
Can I ask a question?
And then you can also look at this volume. Sorry. Yeah, sure.
So that big wall at 5 cents, seeing as like people only put one side of the liquidity thing in, does that mean that's all ETH?
Yeah. Oh, USDC if it's what we're on. Yeah.
Or USDC, sorry, yeah. Okay, so that's all USDC sitting at 5 cents there, ready to buy up hex at that price. And would it be
so the worst? Yeah.
Anything above is hex. Is that how it works, or?
So some of it is both. Is some of it both?
Or anything above the current price will be hex, and everything below the current price
will be USDC.
Showing on this graph will be USDC.
Yeah, that sounds legit. I'm just thinking back to when, if we use the V2 model as a base to sort of think about this, and you would have seen the liquidity would just be flat. That's because everyone has provided 50-50. But of course. When you were forced to provide 50-50, it meant that half of your liquidity went below and half went above, evenly split. Yeah. So you're right. Everything below this red line, which I should have mentioned at the point. It says here current price. So that pink line is the current price. And you're right. Everything below is USDC. Total of price multiplied by amount of bid.
So if you want to give hex to the V3 liquidity, you have to be. It's basically you're selling your hex, and if you want to like put USDC in, you're basically buying hex.
Yeah, so that's how you get. That's how they use V3 for limit orders. Yeah.
Yeah. Thanks for reminding me, Blue Bum, because that's actually the finishing point of what we're talking about here. Is that so say you've used this tag, you've put some liquidity on one-sided liquidity in an attempt to use that like as if it is a sell limit order. If the price goes past going on the way up, you'll get filled, like pseudo filled, this equivalent. If you then you need to remove that liquidity to keep the asset that you've just switched to. Because if the price moves back past where you were before you pull the liquidity, then it gets undone and you basically become a buyer. So you become a buyer. So that's the only part about it that's not ideal. Is you can use this trick, but you have to make sure that you're ready to pull the liquidity once you're filled. And so that's what I was saying about these wicks, is because they would have been moving very quickly. It's unlikely that if people had set those, so they would have got filled, but then they would have got unfilled as the price went back up, which would suck.
So unless you had limit orders sitting on 1 inch or matcher, then that would have been the case for sure. I was going to say something else, but
I'm just wondering if that, like, I'm just wondering in terms of the sacrifice, like if a big whale did want to pump up hex and then sacrifice that hex, would they be able to use this liquidity sides to help him, to keep the price up?
You might have to throw in some form of buy wall behind what you're doing, just so that, because remember what Richard said about when order books, whether it's this type or the old school type, when they get bought out, you're leaving a massive spread, you're leaving a massive gap, right? So not so much in this type of order book, because remember what I was just saying is that as it goes past, you become. So actually, you kind of don't need to, because every single person that you buy through actually becomes the bid support behind you, don't they? Unless they're there to pull their liquidity, they become buy support. So you're turning all of this resistance into support as you push through.
That's really good stuff. Really, really good stuff. I do appreciate the insight there. I think there's something in that for everyone.
Hey, Unwrecked.
Can we spin off? Can we do a little bit of drama? You shoot, mate.
I've got something that I really want to show the people watching. It's something I came across yesterday, and it's I think it's breaking news. I don't think anyone knows about this.
It's not Richard Hart's foot on the throat of Alex Saunders, is it?
No, that's good
news, mate. We've got a massive viewership tonight. We love to just dig put the boot in there, but no.
Just before you go, sorry, I was going to say, well, because we've sort of segued into that just quickly. So I know what you want to talk about, so that's really worth talking about. Just before we wind up on the Alex Saunders thing, that's no, not that. Okay. So the ABC News in Australia has picked up on the story about Alex, and they've interviewed what's their other company, something Shift, Collective Shift. So there was an interview with the CEO of Collective Shift, they're very much distancing themselves from Alex, as you probably have seen on Twitter. But ABC actually posted something on Twitter, and I think that's a great opportunity for us to latch onto that and start tagging ABC and the Australian media and promoting what Richard is doing with raising the 25 mil for SENS, and using that momentum from that bad news story to push through on the good news side of things.
That's excellent. Jackson, that's a great idea.
Can you
Yeah,
put
so
a
I know-
Twitter post in the chat?
Yeah,
So
that's
if
brilliant.
you search for me on Twitter, JexaJ, you'll see where I reposted the original. Now they've pulled that article, but it still had the link from, it was ABC that posted it, and I've tagged ABC and Triple J. I didn't do all the Channel 10 and all those channels like I did on a previous one, but I think if everyone can get behind that and get it recognised by the algorithms and promote that and get ABC to actually look at the real story behind all of this shit as well. I think we can maybe use that to our advantage. And
that's right. And I'm surprised there's not more. That is a mainstream media story. That is a good news story. But to see you tell 9 bad things and the news goes further than the one good thing that you talk about. And that's what happens. Go, Sammy. You got something?
Hey, Jex, I read your article today. And I was sort of thinking to myself, well, this Alex Saunders has got so many Australian followers in crypto, and here they are making him look like some sort of saint, trusting his word as gospel. So I actually emailed ABC News and referenced the article and said, it'd be a good story to look into because this person is actually been up to no good, and the Australian public need to know. I mean, I don't know how far it will get, but they're always looking for a story, so we'll see what happens.
Mate, the guy was a complete dick. So let's take that negative that he was trying to force on Hex and the community and Richard, spin that around and use that momentum for our own good.
Motley, that's not the breaking news, bro.
Yeah.
You stick around, bro. That's old news. You stick around and let me show you the breaking news, mate.
Righto, day 43.
All right, share my screen, mate. Share my screen.
Drop one for
now,
us.
Yeah, if you can share my screen, mate, that'd be great. Okay, guys.
Oh yes.
Right.
Here we go.
Right. So you come to the Hex Slate Show for the juicy tidbits of information. All right, and this is juicy. This one is juicy. So what I've got in front of you right here is the Etherscan Hex contract. So let's just click on the Hex contract. And there we are. We can see that there's 0.16 balance of ETH in there, and there's here's 27 million Hex that some poor fool sent to the contract. Never send your Hex to the contract. Never send it to the contract. It's gone forever. So let's have a look over here. We've got the creator address. What's the creator address? The address that I guess submitted the contract. So let's go to this. This is the creator address of the Hex contract. And here, 4 days ago and 6 hours, 4 days and 6 hours ago, what have we got here? We've got the Hex deployer contract and this Hex swap. What is this? So we click on this TXN and we can see this contract that's been created, right? We've got a contract here that's been created 4 days and 6 hours ago called Hex swap. So let me tell you, you're hearing it here first. A contract has been created by the same deployer of the Hex contract called Hex swap. So what do you guys reckon about that? Let me give you what I think could be the case. We could be seeing
fish don't swim.
Okay, mate, you can disappear again. So what is Hex swap? I don't know what Hex swap is, but do you know what it might be? And this is all speculation, wild speculation, because I can't read code. I can't read the contract code. I don't know what it is. But this is wild speculation. Can you imagine what would happen if things were going to be set up in a way that everything routes through Hex on the Pulse chain? Can you imagine if someone did something like that, set up a pair, everything routes through Hex? What do you think that would do to the Hex price?
Can you explain that? Right. Can you break that down a bit more?
Well, if you have a look here, there's I actually can't break it down anymore because I've put about 5 minutes thought into it. So I'm just throwing some speculation out there, and now you guys go and do what you
and I can put my. I had about 50 guesses today, and I think they're all wildly wrong. So first of all, I thought it might have been a fork of Uniswap's code, so I went and had a look at the Uniswap code, and there's just not enough. Yeah, there's not enough in this to be a dex. It could be maybe a bridge, possibly from hex to hex bridge might be a thing. There's very short code. It doesn't look like. Well, I don't know how to read code either, so I'm not sure exactly what it could be. But it's definitely not a dex from what we can see. Or it could be. This could be a contract that leads into another contract as well. Who knows?
But it is called HexSwap.
It is called
and
HexSwap.
hexswap.com is a registered domain.
So
Because I went and had a look. I went and had a look and tried to register it.
Day 43. It couldn't have anything to do with the exchange that Richard was talking about, getting a license for. And if he did that exchange, what if you made the native token the hex token or the pulse token?
I don't think you'd want to route everything. I don't think that's a great idea to be doing that on a network where you want to be agnostic. I don't know that that's what you would do. Personally, I think it might be that if we want the price on Hex on ETH and Hex on Pulse to be at parity or as close as can be, maybe it's that linkage between.
That would make sense. Maybe it's the linkage between the E-Hex and the P-Hex. Maybe it's where those two.
No, but if you had a bridging contract, what you would need is you've got the ETH Hex side, you need wrapped ETH Hex on the Pulse side, not Pulse Hex. So,
it'd be Richard Hart with his 14 pulses. It'd be like, hold my beer, fucking month-long orgasm, here you go, Hex.
But guys, this happened 4 days ago. This has just happened now, and I came across it by chance because I was just
he's laying claim to it.
Mate, I was snooping around. I was just sniffing around on Etherscan. Oh, what's this? Clicking here, going through here.
It's a brilliant find, man. It's a great find. And I think we're going to start the ball rolling. People are going to start looking at it. Yeah.
So what we need is someone that actually knows how to read code to actually have a look at it and see what it could be.
Yeah. What does it do? What does it do?
What does it do?
Nothing wrong with the question. That's what we're here for.
Yep.
Isn't it? There's no such thing as a dumb question. Hey, look at that. We got our first donation. Our first super chat.
And
thanks,
so
Fennick.
Thank
you.
you.
Want to read that one out?
Thanks.
Okay, I thought for a while it would be a good idea to make the main bridge ETH Hex P Hex as a stable pair using the SACT Hex as liquidity.
Mm-hmm.
So there's it's all this stuff goes over my head. So I'm happy for you guys to discuss theories about it. And,
so you think about it.
I can learn off you guys.
That sounds pretty good. So if you've got a whole bunch of Hex sitting there that you don't want to, it's not going to get sold on market. You want to put it to good use, and that's going to get replicated on the other side for you. It would be a pretty good use for both of those pools of Hex on each side, potentially.
Yep.
Hey, look, the thing is, right, Hex is the Hex is the jewel of the crown when it comes to Pulse, isn't it, really?
Isn't it better if they go through the Pulse ETH bridge? Because that would give more value to Pulse than being able to.
But what if this is not a Pulse thing? This is just how efficient can we make the value between the E-Hex and P-Hex so that they're
so make it very easy to arbitrage.
Yeah, if you can keep that down so that you can try and keep them in sync. And obviously, there's a lot of variables like you got in the daily payouts and your APYs and things like that. So they're all going to come into play. But if the price can be shuffled between them pretty readily, that's got to make that more fluid, you would think.
Yep.
It's all very exciting stuff, isn't it? All very exciting stuff. It's going to be an interesting week. I'll be glad to get this sacrifice phase over with, to be honest with you, from where I'm sitting. I'm like, just watching, observing, put in a little bit here and there. And so what's going to happen at the end of the sacrifice phase? Can you any of you guys want to talk to the process or the step us through what's going to happen, please?
Can I just I want to talk about this. We were talking before about like how potentially a whale who'd missed out on the first 5 days, how they would get in towards the end, right? We were talking about, how that could happen. If you're just a regular person who's not a whale, which is the vast majority of us, I think day 17, is probably your best bet because you can get that 1.75 volume bonus, and you're going to be 3 days off the final penalty or whatever it is of 1.98 or whatever it is. So that's probably going to be the best day from the multiplier's perspective, but it really also depends what the price does, because that matters. But at this stage, you're probably worth waiting till that day. But don't take my advice. Do your own research. I mean, I don't know.
Don't take any of our advice, by the way. We're just some jokers that are on the internet, and we just happen to be on the Discourse Syndicate network. Hey, isn't that right? But no, look, we got some. We're in good. We're in good company here. We've got some really good expertise, and I do appreciate all of you guys bringing your skill sets to the table for us, and having these conversations. It's really.
I want to
really
shout
valuable.
out to the chat. I want to make a shout out to the chat. We got some good people in the chat who a lot of our fellow streamers on other channels.
That's
you
right.
guys know who you are. You got Blaze. I saw your thing with Maddie the other day. That was fantastic. And we have some more people in the chat as well.
There was Motley Investor was in here before, and he's got a stream. They got their Knights of the Round Table order.
We have Kareem. Kareem was
Kareem
in the
as
chat
well.
Yeah.
Kareem. We've had Kareem. He's a friend of the channel. He's been a guest on our show as well. We've talked about encapsulated stakes and other things with him, and we do enjoy watching Kareem's streams as well. Definitely, and when him and Wales only are a great combination. Some of the knowledge shared for those guys. Giving that expertise and knowledge out to the community free of charge, by the way, which I think is a very admirable and noble thing to do, and very much appreciated by the Hexicans as a whole. And I don't speak for everyone; I speak for myself. And look, I really do get a lot out of watching all of the streams, and it's great to see the Hex community. Stepping up and leading the charge with putting out good information, not just shilling garbage, and letting people know, hey, it's crypto. There's risk. You need to do your own research and manage that. Price goes up, price goes down. So that's the market.
We also have
Cabana and Freddie Quay.
Cabana.
Yeah.
Freddie Quay.
I love those guys. Those guys are awesome.
We've got T-Bird in there as well.
Did you see? Can I just talk to Big K, because I was watching those guys a couple of weeks ago, and he's there. He's on the banger. He's like getting a good, like, smoking a doobie, and then he's on the golf cart and he's hooning around the resort. Live on the stream. I was like, yeah.
Who was that?
That's how we do it over in Mexico, mate.
Hey, there's a pump apparently. Let's look at the chart.
Looking right.
Yeah, there is. It's been going on for a while. I couldn't get a word in to tell you all.
Oh,
Good timing.
Sammy, come on. That's not like you to not be able to talk.
You know what?
Hex Late Show pump.
Hex Late Show pump. Maybe the whale thought, shit, my tactics out.
Sammy, the floor is yours.
No, that's all I wanted to say. Carry on, as you were.
Sammy, I wanted to say the seat you're sitting on looks baller as hell. Awesome. I need a seat like that.
I'm in the series.
We've actually managed to get to a TD9 on the daily, so this could be great for running out of momentum to the downside, actually having a reversal. This candle is shaping up. The fact that it's green is a good indication that it potentially this might be where we turn around on the daily and start moving up. And if we look at the lower time frames, which I'm actually talking about, look, we've pumped. That white line is a fib level, and we've pumped straight through that.
Ooh, 13.
So that's great news.
13 cents, hey?
Nice.
So look at the and look, it's even more pronounced on the USD chart. Yeah, downtrend. This is say goodnight to that. We're on our way up. That's great.
So we might get that final run where the whale comes in. Who knows?
Yep.
I just want to point out that last time we were on a stream, we broke 10 cents as well. So I think we can take credit for that.
Yeah.
Yeah, totally.
Oh, yeah, well, you know, like when I'm in the background there, I'm just like smashing the buy, just going.
Just unloading that bank account.
So what's about to happen in the not too distant future is we're about to have the biggest airdrop in the history of crypto. Like this is the biggest thing ever in the history of crypto because Ethereum is getting forked and with a system state, which means that every single token, well, almost every single token, maybe a couple of dodgy ones are going to get like, you know, kicked to the curb, but almost every single token is going to get replicated on the Pulse chain network. And if you've got keys to crypto on the Ethereum network, you're going to have keys to crypto on the Pulse network, and it's going to be free. So this is the biggest crypto airdrop ever. What do you guys have to say about that?
You want to know something hilarious? I'm not going to say the names of the projects, obviously, but there's one in particular where that one of those scam projects that's not going to be mirrored on Pulse. Their community have been making videos about Pulse, assuming that they are going to get their tokens mirrored over on Pulse.
I don't think they think that. No, it was.
Really?
It was in the chat. I went and checked out that exact video, and it was brought up in the chat. No, I don't think.
I mean, why would they be promoting Pulse if they don't? That their coin is going to get mirrored.
Maybe some of them do think that. Hey. Maybe some of them think it's getting mirrored.
Maybe they're probably that dumb. They probably do.
Well, in fairness, I think a lot of those guys are still hexagons. So they done it. They made a stupid move at some point and probably gave up a lot of their hex to go see if they could try their luck on this other thing because they were filled full of friggin' promises of double the returns and whatever. Turns out it's a pile of shit, and they're stuck with. They're probably kicking themselves for giving up a lot of their economic energy. But I think
is that a cultural thing? Is that a cultural thing that's endemic within crypto in the past? Like where there seems to be a mindset where that like let's face it, you're trying to get in early. You're trying to get in the early investment seed phase of a project or a product or something like that, and that's just a hangover through the first 10 years. I mean, I wasn't around. I was only here 5 minutes. So,
So personally, I think they may have thought they were doing it for the right reason and didn't like the OA and were against that.
But that was fun. That was...
I get that. Yeah, but they thought they could build something better without that. And the reality was...
You could mount a case for them thinking that they were doing... That if they bought into the FUD of the OA being the people were mainly focused on that was a problem for them the benefit of the doubt that they thought, we'll just do it minus the thing that everyone's getting so upset about, not realizing that was like a critical component.
Okay.
And also doing other dodgy stuff pretty bad.
So
they did a bunch of stuff.
They underestimated the importance of it, but B, so Hex went through a 350-day launch phase, and what that meant is everyone had a chance to come in and acquire some. Rip-off project number, I think it was number 1. Rip-off project number might have been number 2. What they done was, first of all, created a token that had nothing to do with what the project was going to end up being, put that into Uniswap, and the first guys there, so literally the first handful of people, first maybe 10 or 20, brought up the majority of the supply. So they're the only guys that really benefited from it. Then everyone else had to come and buy it off of them on the deck, so they would sell it back into everyone. So it was the actual launch was dodgy as shit to begin with, and that literally set the tone for the rest of the project. So they got what they deserved in the end.
Karma's a bitch, as they say.
Yep.
In the and there's another example segue back into old Mr. Saunders. I think he's goose is cooked, and I hope he gets arrested for fraud. To be honest,
so
and he's sharing a cell with Bubba. Go in there and play mummies and daddies.
Hey, has anyone noticed how many people are talking about Pulse? Like Colin on Crypto did a big video on it, and Also, what's his Suppo man, who's already a Hexican. He did a video on it.
Yeah.
And how many new Hexicans there are and pulses there are? There's heaps more new Twitter accounts like popping
Have
up.
you just created the new name for people with pulses?
Yeah, I reckon it sounds better than pulsinators or.
No, I haven't heard pulsinators.
It sounds a little bit gay. I don't know. I thought pulses is good. What do you guys think?
Can I say that I've been thinking about what Richard Hart's actually doing here and what we're going to see in the next 6 months. We're seeing an experiment whether this can actually work, right? You're going to have two chains, and whether the price of Hex is going to be the same on both, right? And then if that works, whether then Hex can go and be on other chains, and if that can work as well. And what I think this is like a new era in crypto, when you're going to just see these tokens just float across different chains and maintain a stable value across all these chains. So it's big stuff. Right now we're in the midst of it. We know it's big, but what it actually means for the space, I think, could be absolutely huge. In the coming years.
Yeah.
Louis, do you want to talk about interoperability there? Because you know a little bit about cross-chain interoperability. Do you want to talk about that a little bit, Louis?
Oh, me.
Oh.
Louis, or anyone that knows about it.
I've got a quick comment that if you were looking at putting Hex onto other chains that are not Pulse, the problem would be that you're not going to be. It would have to be bridged, and you would basically be having a synthetic version on that. How would you fairly distribute it to make sure that everyone? I guess you could airdrop it, couldn't you? You could airdrop it based on who has the Hex on ETH or Pulse. Yeah, it's possible.
Listen, this is what ThorChain was really working on, and they recently had that bug where someone stole money from it or whatever.
Yeah.
But you know what? It's early days with that technology, but that they were heading for what we want, which is all chains having dexes, having decentralized exchanges, so you can swap your Bitcoin to your Litecoin, you can swap your Bitcoin to your Hex, you can swap your eHex to your Monero, and that's the future, and it's just a matter of the technology getting developed enough where it's trustlessly enough and no admin keys and all that kind of stuff. But
boys and girls, are we having fun yet? Are we having fun? That's the main thing, because I think it's a lot of fun and learning and growing. Just grow or die, as they say, isn't it? Isn't it great? Very interesting stuff.
I think at this stage it's more about world domination. I think.
Well, I think there's I mean, look. I think he's got I think certainly Richard Hart has got a lot that he wants to prove, and he wants to, and I think good on him. I mean,
he's got
let the big dog feed. That's what I say, and he deserves all the accolade he gets.
He's got the smarts. He's got the right attitude that he wants to see people come along for a good ride and do good in the world. He's actively fighting against all the shit that's been going on in this space for the last 10 years. Not only that, he's built up a community that's got his back as well now, and Pulse will be a success just due to the fact that the community that's coming along with it. And that's a bit more of a having Pulse is that gateway for everyone else to come in and forget about all the. Well, they can come in and be part of Pulse, and then forget about all the shit they talked and a soft entry into. Okay, yeah, Hex isn't so bad then, sort of thing. So Richard made the comment. He have the best chain, so you've got the best tool to be able to run all these projects, and then you've got the best store of value. And he made something about. Yeah. I'm paraphrasing, but world domination.
No, that's good. No, it's a good point. I agree. I think he's uncannily always right with some of his stuff that when he talks about it. It always rings true to me, and I always don't just take his word for it. I think about it, and I I think deeply about some of the things that he says, and look, he's very, very smart, and he's right a lot. He is right a lot.
I think we can start with crypto world domination, and then once crypto world domination,
Before we move off world.
what's that?
Before we move off world.
Well, then we can just go world domination, like, take over those old legacy markets, eh? Just fucking crush.
Well, it's like, yeah, look, I mean, come on. I mean, it's, to me, Hex is the only game in town, but I mean, I like Hex. I understand the game theory, and I like the staking mechanism, the synthetic stakes and shares, and Pulse just having its own chain now, its own utility and everything, and that just, all that does is just, it's like that positive feedback, that positive performance loop, that pumper metal. It just keeps rolling around and around and just feeding the next thing. And yeah, I think Pulse is going to smash the lights out. I mean, hey, I don't have a crystal ball, but if I listen to Richard Hart, he's saying, well, look at the Telegram chat, look at the adoption. Adoption's the most important thing in crypto. We've been getting these people they're just getting wrecked through the meat grinder and going out again. That's no good for anyone. That doesn't help anything. That doesn't help adoption of crypto and giving people better sound money, because that's what it is. That's what this is. I mean, the old fiat system is broken. It's like keeping people enslaved in their jobs and paying taxes and all this stuff like this. I think the crypto is it's liberating in a sense. It's having your own personal sovereignty, controlling your own keys, all the great things about the crypto ethos that we all understand, and imparting that knowledge on into the world and giving people, it's world changing stuff. Like this innovation is really, really cutting edge technology, and it's changing the world. And look at all the people that are coming forward and putting their name to it and bringing their skill sets freely. By mind you, we don't. None of us are saying, "Hey, give us a buck to do any of this stuff." We're just doing it out of because we like Hex. We genuinely all enjoy the game theory and playing and being involved in it, and the friendships that we've made, and the people that we've met through this, I guess, this online world that we're all in now is it's been great, and I value that very much. You guys,
should we take some questions? Or the other option I've got is there's this video that Kobe sent me. I don't know if you guys have seen it. It's pretty epic.
Hey,
It was
yeah. We got. I'm happy to just let the camera roll for however long you guys want to keep. Buddy,
this video is only 2 minutes long, and it is absolutely lethal in terms of how simply this guy explains Hex to no coiners.
Okay.
Hey, before you go, just hey, Funding Jim asked you to send the link in the chat.
Link for what?
I'll send it to him in Telegram. Send it to him in Telegram. No worries. Okay, we'll bring up this video.
Let's do the video.
Okay. Okay, is that being shared? All right, cool.
We just make it full screen.
It looks like a stroke victim.
You're horrible, people.
I think we've got. This isn't going so well, mate. Is this off of Twitter?
Yeah.
Twitter just plays videos real shit.
Yeah, we got no audio, hey?
Yeah.
What's the problem? What's the problem? Is it not?
There's no audio.
So okay, wait one sec. I'll try it like that. Tell me if this is better.
No.
Fail.
Serenity saying the guy had a stroke when he saw the Hex chart.
Sorry, guys. I didn't realize the volume was going to be too low. It's actually a video file that's stored on my computer. I don't know why that's not coming through properly. But that's all right.
Can you post that in the Telegram chat, and then maybe Unrex can bring it up on his end?
Yeah, that's a good idea. That's a good idea. I'll sort that out while you guys continue.
Yep. So are there any were there some, did someone say there were questions in the chat?
Yeah, Tangent did. He said we could answer questions.
Right.
While you look
another reason for the SENS Foundation, strokes. That's another major killer. How dare you, Bluey? That's a shocker, mate. That's a shocking thing. Funding Jim sent you the link.
Wait, guys, does Sens have a solution for if you've
I'll
got
smash
like
you, boy.
if you've got Richard's boot on your throat for over 2 weeks and you can't breathe? Does Sens have some kind of like longevity solution for that? No, it's good.
Mate, I reckon good on Richard for doing that. I would too. I would. You know, I got banned on my first Twitter account. Got banned because of that Alex Saunders. Anyway, I won't go there. There's no pride in that stuff. But yeah, look, you know, you live and you learn, don't you?
So
you get more flies with honey.
Tange, are you still trying to queue up that?
Yep.
Okay. So while we're doing that, why don't we just have a look at how much has been sacrificed so far for?
Yep. Thank you for that segue, Jessica. Let's get down to serious business.
So hang on, we've got there's a couple of people that we've got to shout out to. The devs that threw this site together. Now I've got the handle here, but I can't remember I think it's Hextopia in Telegram, and I think it is GameSys in Telegram as well. It might be something else in Telegram. But these guy and a girl put this together, and this has made the Pulse sacrifice. It's made it. Like, this has been the resource that everyone's gone to check out how things are going. It's got thrown up in literally 2 days or a day, and it's been a really awesome resource. So shout out for those guys that put that together so quickly for us. But what's even more impressive is the amount that has actually gone in to the sacrifice, and this doesn't include Bitcoin, Doge. I think there's Cardano, XRP. There's a whole raft of other things that aren't included on this.
Litecoin,
and I think on the Bitcoin side there was, I think it was about 10 mil, if I recall correctly, 10 or 11 mil. So this is probably more up closer to the 700 mark, I would imagine, at the moment. So that's a pretty awesome result. So I'm trying to think in terms of size, other launches that have achieved this. So obviously there was the EOS one, which was 4 billion. I can't think of too many more that have achieved this level of funding going at launch. I don't know. Happy to be proven wrong, but I can't think of any. I'm not sure what the recent MENA one done. That was a pretty big one, but
apparently Richard tweeted the amounts for the other coins. Do we have
they been included? They haven't been included on that list.
No.
So this is just that Bitcoin amount that could reorder the whales on that top 10.
Yeah, but I don't think it will, because I think it's a total of 10 or 11 mil, and I'm assuming that's not all from one person. So maybe it might order it as a smidge, but I don't think it'll be the multiple between position 1 to 20. It doesn't change that much.
We need a Trace Mayer to sacrifice some Bitcoin, eh? Trace, what are you doing, mate? Sacrifice some Bitcoin, mate.
You'd have to come out hiding first.
Where'd he go? Where did Trace Mayer go?
Oh, there was an incident at a conference.
Or
the
100,000. Like
the Wimble incident.
Change the levels in the top 20.
Yeah. Richard tweeted out Ethereum 663, Sens 25 mil, Bitcoin 11 mil, and all the rest go down from 2.5 mil and down to 100 in Tron. Hey, I was just looking at Richard's Twitter too. Make sure you guys check it out, because he's actually posted the ABC News. You know, we were talking about before.
Yeah.
The ABC News Alex Saunders thing. Yeah. And then they deleted it. So he actually posted that as well. But there's an extract there that he's tweeted out. So that will be interesting to have a look at.
So that people share the one about the Sens 25 mil. Did you just say that, Sammy? Sorry if I just repeated what you said.
Yeah, that's plus the Sens 25 mil.
Sorry.
That's in the leaderboard. That's Sens donation. Those Sens donations are in the leaderboard.
Yeah. Okay.
Hey, Unwrecked, did we get funding, Jim? Did you send a link?
He's there. Can you?
So that video is playing, but no sound again, hey?
Yep. Maybe we can tell them where they can go and watch it. Is it on Twitter?
No, Kobe just sent it to me. A bit like that other video that had the girls wearing the Hex t-shirts. Kobe sends me this awesome content, but I don't know where it actually comes, where it originates from. Surprisingly,
These apologies. The sound is working on mine, but
yeah, that was the same for me. The sound was fine on my computer, and then it just wasn't playing for you guys.
Yeah. Okay.
What's up, everybody?
Try
Can you
that
hear me?
again. We'll try that again another time. Here we go. We've got Funding Jim with us. How you going, Gary? Welcome.
Good.
Haven't spoken to you, haven't seen you for ages. I've seen you around. How you going, mate?
Yeah, I'm doing good. I'm a little weathered this morning. It's early here, but you're in the right place. We've been talking about this for years. It's not just because of Hex and Pulse Chain, which is going to be amazing. The frustrations of dealing internationally. You guys are international. I was trying to send money to a friend of mine in Kiev this morning, so I woke up Monday to go do the transfer, wire transfer, Swift transfer. Of course, Puerto Rico has holidays that are different than other places, so the bank's closed. Weekend, had to wait for it, 3 days. The fourth day, which I went this morning, go to make the transfer. The guy is a Portuguese citizen, but he is in Kiev at the moment. He has multiple bank accounts in different countries. And of course, he's on a blacklist, not him, but the country of Ukraine is on a blacklist that banks won't transfer from the US because Russia invaded in 2017, right? So if you're in the right place when it comes to cryptocurrency, not because of black market, not because of, dastardly things that human beings also do. It is because every technology, it doesn't matter whether it's telecommunication of a telegram, hundreds of years ago, or television, or the internet, the majority of people have good commerce in mind. And it's the same thing with me. I'm hiring people that are technically skilled, that are in Kiev. There is a difference between the price point. So I can get a high quality developer for like $700 a month, completely different than in Silicon Valley, right? So it's just, you're in the right place when it comes to whatever the global economy ends up being, not to be like tin hat wearer or anything like that, but I see the universality of cryptocurrencies, eventually.
You make a lot of sense. That makes a lot of sense, Gary. I agree there, because moving money through borders and having these borderless transactions with crypto and not having to get permission and beg for your money from the bank and things like that, it takes all the stress out. It takes all the stress out. I know moving money from just even between Australia and New Zealand, for example. It is a pain. They treat you like foreign investors, and they want to tax you on the way out, and they want to tax you on the way in, and they want to, treat you like basically a foreign investor, even if you're a citizen. So and like with the crypto, it's just so easy. It's brilliant. It's the innovation of being able to do those peer-to-peer transactions is where it's at. Like it's brilliant for commerce. That's going to just get rid of all the inefficiency and we know that in business it's a natural flow of things. It's like the water goes the easiest path to where it's got to where the gravity takes it.
Part of the amazing onboarding is this guy, just like everybody's using QRs when they go to a restaurant now. My grandparents are in their mid 80s and they use a QR on their phone in order to check a restaurant menu, right? They didn't do it until they had to do it. So part of the lockdown, part of the restriction of all the stuff of 2020 and things like that actually has catalyzed generations that we were saying before, saying, my grandmother will never use Bitcoin or some kind of crypto. She just needs something that's seamless, is in the background. Well, these people are adapting because our world is compelling them to. My friend is, again, 56 years old, lived about 20 years inside of Ukraine. He has a family that he met while he was a brand ambassador for Calvin Klein living in London, right? So he met someone that was Ukrainian or is Ukrainian. When they had family, they decided that they wanted to be closer to her parents. So he has been suffering the restrictions of a border country in between Russia and the European Union, right? That's what Ukraine basically is. And, all of the restrictions of the world, basically, for normal commerce of 42 million people that can't really interact as easily as the rest of Europe or Australia or Western economies. So it's interesting that, just moments ago, I'm walking him through and sending him Richard's video on how to install MetaMask. He has friends that are, that are in crypto, that are 100 millionaire or billionaires that he can basically convert into cash. I said, okay, I'll just send you some Hex. He actually wants Tether, but I'm gonna convert some Hex just so I can pay you, because I can't use PayPal, I can't use a regular bank, I can't use Swift, I can't do wire transfer because the guy is Portuguese. And I went to the bank this morning and I said, this guy is Portuguese. Here's his passport. He has national citizenship. He's never been restricted in any form. He has Polish banks and things like that. But because I said that he was in Kiev at the time of the transfer, now he's blacklisted with my bank. They actually said, oh, what's his name? And I was like, I can't tell you his name now because you're just going to put him on a list where if I want to transfer it to him and he's in a different country, in 6 months, you'll restrict it. So all of this, big brother parenting kind of thing, eventually people are going to throw off shackles, hopefully, and I think cryptocurrency is just a tool of freedom.
I think the world has moved on and we all want to be global citizens, but we're still stuck in this. Everyone's got to have borders between the country and they're all protecting their own self-interests, and the world's moved on. And hopefully, if not our generation, but the generations coming behind us, hopefully we can break a few of those barriers down. And I think crypto is one of those tools that allows us to force that change through.
Absolutely.
Very good point.
One of the reasons you have a uniform language is exactly that, right? It's the speed of commerce, speed of ideas, speed of invention, speed of innovation, all of those things. So, you have dominant languages that expand and so forth. The other ones that wane basically because of economics, really economics. And the last comment is you think of all the people that are status quo, that they earn their money from running a currency exchange at an airport, or basically every time you go to a different country, you're in slippage, right? You're losing some purchasing power because you're paying someone to convert it into that local currency. So all of these borders, again, it gets permitted by the population because you are afraid. You're insecure, and someone's going to come across this line or this river and harm you. But really, I think a lot of that is propagandized because you are losing purchasing power every time you go across a border, or you convert your cash, or you move an asset from one country to another. So it's a big ruse. But that's my rant.
They're just trying to capture the economic energy within their borders and not let it leak out. That's all it boils down to.
Hey, wouldn't it be cool if everyone just, if everyone just accepted crypto? You didn't have to. So, and I'm not even talking the shops, like retail shops. That's maybe, a long way away, or maybe that doesn't even happen.
Small businesses do it.
But I'm talking person to person. Yeah. Like I know that if someone wanted to give me or needed to give me some money, I'd be happy to take it in crypto. Very happy.
Absolutely.
So recently with all my stuff on the Seed Vault stuff that I've got going, I've had people pay me in Hex for that. I just brought a piece of artwork off of another Hexagon today and paid them in Hex with that. So it is getting used as a form of payment.
Oh, thanks, Gary. Hopefully that was Gary coming into. We love Gary. He's a friend of the channel, and he's been doing. I know there he's still there. He's still there. He's still there, Gary. But yeah, look, so we are coming up to time. So boys and girls, but.
Can I add just on that thought? Do you see the news today that Amazon are employing certain individuals in regards to accepting cryptocurrency? You've got Tesla, others are going to follow suit.
But that was FOMO, and then it turned into FUD where they came out and denied that straight away. So who knows?
That's right.
Hey, can we look at this Hex chart again, like with the pumping price? Like I've got to say, I love it when Hex pumps during our stream. Yeah. It makes me feel so good. It makes me feel like we're doing something right. Yeah, but it makes me feel like we're doing something right in this world.
Yeah, right.
Where is the chart? Where is it?
Oh, geez. I'll have to have a look.
When we had 10 cents, that was an awesome stream.
Here we go. Oopsie. I've lost my buttons.
It went as high as 13.4. But it's pulling back.
Wow.
A little.
Oh yeah.
And this fib level, sorry, and well within my moon parabolas. So yeah, this is.
Is it any really? Is it any one big? Is it one big buy or anything like that, or is it just a general kind of?
I think it moved up
pressure?
pretty steadily, and these sorts of little pullbacks are pretty healthy. I mean, look, if you look at it on the hourly instead, it's looking pretty. It's looking pretty green. Oh, I mean, there's a bit of a wick there, but yeah, no, that's good. If I had to guess, I'd say we continue moving up.
It really broke out of that downtrend, didn't it?
Yeah.
I'd
100%.
love to see some whale games at the end here. I would just love to see some whale games.
Me too.
Or the ETH.
Come on, whales.
Come on, whales.
I've never had the need to look at a 5-minute chart in Hex, but the sacrifice phase made me go down to that sort of granularity to find out what was going on. Just trying to score the best deal.
Yeah. Over on the ETH chart, it looks like we are getting rejected by a fib level. So we'll just watch this. Yep. We'll just watch this and see if we can break through. This number 6 candle did try to go through and got smacked down. But look,
I don't even understand what those numbers mean, mate.
This is higher. This is higher lows.
I've never done.
What are they? What are the 4, 5, 6, 7?
All I know is that's what Tone Vase pumps, isn't it? That's what he.
Yeah, Tone Vase considers himself to be the one who popularized it in crypto, but it was a well-known indicator on Wall Street. It's the Tom DeMark indicator, and it's basically it's candle counting to assess when momentum is likely to run out. And he basically, the way that it's been geared up in terms of its parameters is just purely from back testing. And the good things about the indicator is that it was designed to be a universal indicator. So any asset, any time frame, it doesn't matter what the candles are, whether they're 15-minute or 1-month candles, and it doesn't matter what the asset is. And it also is one of possibly the only one I'm aware of that actually gives you of time rather than just price. So with this, it's more about the amount of time that you're likely to continue with a momentum trend, as opposed to other indicators that are more to do with sort of where things are going to go in terms of price. So it's a really good indicator to add to your arsenal.
So bigger numbers are more momentum.
No. It's more of a count where you're counting to 9. I know it sounds silly, but it basically says that every 9 candles, when you have these runs of green numbers or red numbers, that you typically are going to run out of momentum if you get to a 9th candle. And the way that it stays in a green or red count is that the close has to be above or below the close of 4 candles prior. So, but you can actually modify those parameters. So you can actually change the 9 to a different number, and you can change the 4 candles back in terms of the comparison close to a different number as well, depending on what indicator you've got. So the one that I've got, which was actually coded by Tone Vase, you can actually mess around with these parameters. And in fact, there's a whole shit ton of things that you can mess around with. But basically,
hang on.
I won't go into too much more detail, but it's a really good indicator. I like it, and Wall Street uses it, so you can see it working.
And we heard a story the other day where you're best buddies with Tone, aren't you?
hey guys! This has been a really great stream, and I just want to wind this up because we've got Gary on. I do want to do a quick shout out because this is a record for us. We've got over 260 viewers live. And that is a massive achievement for us. And I want to just do a quick special shout out to the Captain RG3 and Kinetics. Those boys have done a lot for the Hex community and bringing the Discord Syndicate network together and bringing us on board. And with all the knowledge and expertise we've got here, clearly there is a market for sharing this type of information. So I really do appreciate the patronage. We don't take anything for granted. It is a privilege for us to be having these conversations. We do enjoy having these conversations, and we do this stuff every week. So if you like what you see and you want to come back and join us and learn,
smash the likes,
experience, smash the lights. Make sure you subscribe. Get along to all the other. The streamers. There's a growing legion of Hex streamers now that we're getting different points of view and different areas of expertise across the board now, because Hex is the best crypto. And because there's so much game theory, there's speculative stickiness, there's pumpermentals. It's got everything that you could want in a crypto. It is the best crypto. So don't take my word for it. Don't take any of our words for us. We're just people on the internet having a chat. So do yourself a favor and get along there. And hex.com is the website. Probably the starting point for anyone new. It's just like if you like being your own bank, you want to be your own bank, get some Hex, stake it, and find out how good it is. It is great. It's life changing, and it's helped a lot of people take control of their financial futures. And I think that's really, really good to see all these very happy people that have invested in Hex.
And
like us.
also Pulse Chain. If you guys want to participate in the largest airdrop, crypto airdrop ever that's ever taken place, what you need to do is you can go and sacrifice to. So you can go to, what's the website? The website is pulsechain.com, and you can go read up about the Ethereum fork, which is Pulse Chain, which will be going live. We expect in the next month or 2 or 3. We're not sure.
There was a bit of a hint that it might be sooner than we all think.
Yeah, that would be nice. That would be nice. So you can go sacrifice. You can go find out about sacrificing there, and if you've got ERC20s on the Ethereum network, you're going to get a copy of them on the Pulse network. It's fucking amazing. It's amazing. It's going to be huge. It's going to be huge. It's going to be the biggest airdrop ever in crypto. So make sure you know about it. And yeah, that's all from me, guys.
Louis?
I think there's an echo.
Yeah.
Sorry.
Yeah.
Echo.
All good. Well done, everyone. No
worries, guys.
Yeah.
It's pretty amazing. Again, I tried all of this stuff on Thursday, had to wait all the way until this morning, get pissed off and frustrated with banks. And I just sent $4,000 to my friend in Kiev and during this stream since I came on. You know, you're in the right place when it comes to crypto, man.
Good work, Gary. Yeah, mate. Hey, it's good to see you again, mate. And I'm glad that you've pulled through from your bout. I'll tell you what, I've been a bit dusty myself, mate. I'll tell you what, it's not nice when you don't feel good. I know
I realized, again, I do think that it was COVID too, but I was drinking a lot of cough syrup because of this dry cough that had no production. And I was delirious, I think also from a reaction to the cough syrup because I feel 150%. I feel like I'm one of those Captain America movies or something like that where they took the wimp and they made him into some kind of super thing. It's amazing.
Well, that's great. That's great news,
That's
mate.
good,
And
mate.
I've noticed a spring in your step lately. I've noticed a bit of a
fire,
spring in
Gary.
your step, so that's been good.
Ever since you came back on a few days ago, you've been on fire on all cylinders. It looks like, yeah.
Again, if you guys go to look at the YouTube channels of some of the people, George Gammon, I talk to regularly. I just had a meeting with him. He actually delayed his regular Sunday stream because of the conversation about Hex and Pulse and the Ascends Foundation and things like that we've been doing, raising $600 million for the launch
super smart guy too, by the way.
Yeah.
Super smart guy.
Macro
very
guy, super connected.
very interesting character. Yeah.
Very
Yeah, we're
connected
cracking
guy.
through. Hey, cracking through. It's just a matter of time.
Yeah.
And we all knew that, but it's lovely to be in the middle of it and see it all playing out. And let's just enjoy it. Hey, like it's early days yet, and it's still so early. We've got so far to go, and it's a great journey. It has been up until now. It's just riveting, isn't it? There's just every day there's something happening, that little like twists and things like that and stuff you just don't.
There's always great things to talk about in Hex and now with the Pulse Chain as well. So yes, it's great to be a part of it, and it's great to be on the journey with all you wonderful people. And thank you for joining us, everyone. Sammy, you're going to be doing the Discourse Syndicate Ladies Stolen Discourse on Friday.
Yeah.
What are you going to be doing, Tangent? When's your next run in the jungle? Should jump on with Wales. I've been trying to tee up and stream with you in Wales, mate. I've been trying to get you in Wales and Nexus live together.
I really want to stream with those guys.
Cracker.
So I've probably dropped the ball. I'll out.
No, mate. Hey, look, we're all doing this we're all doing this for the love, mate. So don't worry about it.
Awesome.
And those guys get it too. Those guys get it. So they're all and they're really good. They're really good, solid guys.
I do really appreciate you lining that up, and I will not waste that opportunity to have a chat with them.
Mate, it's not me. It's the Hexicans want it. The Hexicans want to see it.
Awesome.
So,
I want to see it. I want to see that.
Yeah, big one.
For sure. All right,
Right,
then,
guys.
all right then, lads. Everyone, anything before we go?
One thing: if you slept on Hex, don't get caught sleeping on Pulse. This is your second chance. Jump on it, enjoy it, go along for the ride.
Here's another thing. If you slept on Hex, don't sleep on Hex.
Yeah,
That's
exactly.
it. This is Hex.
Actually, before the
Yes.
Yeah.
Don't miss buying it at 13 cents if it goes to $1.30 or something like that. You'd be like, oh no, you know.
Pre-fork.
Guys, there's an awesome quote for this. It's
Richard's
better to
talking
be
about
late to the
eyeing a
party
dollar.
than to go to the wrong party.
Yeah.
Say it
Richard's
again?
he was just
That's
saying,
it.
about eyeing a dollar. You're seeing that shrinking supply on the ETH side. You're seeing the hype and the interest in the P side. I think that there will be parity. So both of them are playing the price ratchet up on both bags. So keep that in mind. On the EHEX side, that's a shrinking supply pool. Shrinking supply with steady demand, or same demand means price go up. Interest and higher demand, even if we have a launch phase of the fork, and then we have this PHEX movement before, even though Ethereum costs are relatively low by comparison, they're not pennies, right? They're still $6 or $30 or whatever it is that we're doing on Ethereum. So you're seeing breakthrough both on the community, breaking through into spaces that are not related to crypto, but they are related to wealth. And you're seeing Richard break through on some of these people that have changed their tune, so to speak, about gatekeeping us. So be prepared for what Hex is, even though everyone's talking about Pulse. Be prepared for what Hex will do.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
All right, everyone. We'll be back next week at the same time on the Discourse Syndicate Network. And thank you for listening. We appreciate you all. We'll see you all next week. Thank you. I miss Kinetics in the next